was pretty good, but it's my turn now.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Last video I did my top 10 best movies of 2023. This time I will be doing a top 10 worst movies of 2023. Now, full disclaimer, this is my biased perspective on my list of worst movies of 2023. And if you don't agree with me and my list, I don't give a damn. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10, Paw Patrol: The Mighty Movie. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would I have this kids movie on the list? But it's the lowest on the list, so let me explain. My children love this movie, and it keeps them occupied. However, if it's being played every other hour all the way till bedtime, you start to hate the movie. But they are starting to calm down with it. So the main reason why that it is on the list of one of the worst movies is how tortured I was by this movie that was played over and over and over. I literally have nightmares that the movie was playing while I'm an actual dog. But it looks like the loops will continue because in 2025, there will be a third Paw Patrol movie. Let's just hope I have a full supply of beer stocked by then. If I Can't is a Tubi movie that everyone was talking about on social media. So once I got settled in my new place, I started to watch it. It started out good at first, but then when it dragged and then that graphic scene of the woman getting raped and the twist at the end, I felt that had no build up really turned it off for me. Once the movie was over, I felt like, okay, where's the Men in Black that made me forget this movie? OnlyFans is another Tubi movie that fell flat on its face. It follows a man who lost hella hours at work and his wife wants to help out. So she started an OnlyFans and this guy was giving her thousands upon thousands of dollars every other week. But she bit off more than she can chew by being harassed by the guy she was getting money from, which she was almost killed until her husband saved her. And spoiler alert, even though the stalker was stabbed, he somehow got away with no blood trail at all. And the movie just ended. And this is not the first time a Tubi movie has done this. And it pisses me off every damn time. Now, it's no surprise that Blue Beetle tanked at the box office. But I wanted to believe in this movie. However, at certain times, they tried to make it as feminized as possible. The suit and the special effects were cool, but the story was subpar at best. Now, the actor that plays Jaime Reyes was great. But for me, the person that stole the whole movie was George Lopez. Now, even though I felt like this movie was bad, apparently it doesn't matter for James Gunn because Blue Beetle will move forward in the DCU or DCEU or whatever the fuck he wants to call it in future projects. But I'm willing to bet that we won't see Blue Beetle again for another 5 years or so. Number 6, Renfield. You would think a movie about Nicolas Cage being a vampire will be pure gold, but nah, not so much. I had to pinch myself from falling asleep at the first 20 minutes of the movie. Nicholas Hoult was good for what he was given, but then Awkwafina was in the movie and was even more unbearable to watch. I just don't see her as a cop in any movie at all. I think she should just be loud, fun Asian girl opposing to her best friend that wants to do everything her parents say. Overall, don't watch this movie. You'll be disappointed. Now, Teen Wolf the movie should have been a nice epilogue or a precursor to a potential revival. However, this movie was fan service at best. It seems like every character is forgettable once they do what they're supposed to do to advance the plot. I did do a full review of this movie months back, and while writing the review, I forgot to write about what certain characters did in the movie because I forgot that these certain characters were in the movie. So I had to freestyle and add them in somehow. But I'm not going to get in too heavy on why I think this is one of the worst movies because I did do the full review, like I said. So if you want to watch it, click the card above if you want to see it. Now, Fast X is a no-brainer. This franchise should have died out with Furious 7 when Paul Walker passed away. But here we are with Fast X, and it's completely, utterly ridiculous. They tried to copy Infinity War when everyone was separated. Also, they retconned the final chase scene of Fast 5 that the villain from the movie had a son and wanted Dom and his team to pay. And he was played by Jason Momoa. At first, I thought he was going to be a good villain, but I felt like he overacted in his film, to be honest. Also, the film was left on a cliffhanger, which served as part 1 of a 3-part finale. But since the writer's strike, there's been no word on when the next one's supposed to come out. We also get the return of Hobbs, that we thought we'd seen the last of since Dwayne Johnson's beef with Vin Diesel. But since the flop of Black Adam, he came crawling back. And then we get a character that we thought should have died back from the dead, and that's Gal Gadot's character. How in the hell you survive a fall mid-air like that? Here's hoping that once we see the final two movies, we will be done with this franchise for good. Coming in at number 3, Murder City. Now, this movie started off good until too many plot conveniences started to happen. And also, the main antagonist was a woman, and that was 3 sizes smaller than the main character that's played by Mike Coulter. She basically has him by the throat to do whatever she wants so that Mike Coulter's character can clear his father's debt. Now, the whole time when I was watching this movie, I was like, if he don't snap that bitch's neck, I know something. Because what her underlings are going to do once he kills her right in front of them. And in the end, it wasn't even Mike's character that killed her. It was basically another side character that delivered the final blow, I guess. But I wanted to like the movie, but it ended up falling flat on its face like any other Tubi movie. Looks like Cinnamon is 1 in a million, in my opinion. Coming in at number 2, Justice League Warworld. Now, I thought this movie was supposed to be about just Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman kicking all kinds of ass for over an hour and a half. But it turns out that this movie ended up being long and dull. And the feminist agenda was an all-time high. They had Wonder Woman being a badass cowgirl. Then they had Batman as a caveman and a slave. And last and certainly not least, they had Superman barely doing anything. Once I saw Batman as a caveman and how long the part of that story dragged out, I had already checked out and I had to turn it off and watch the rest of it the next day. Now, there are a few honorable mentions that didn't make the list at all. And if I named them, we will never get to the number 1 spot. So let's move on. Now, coming in at number 1, and this should be a no-brainer, we have The Flash. Now, this movie was announced back in early 2015, 2016, I want to say. But after all the rewrites, controversy with Ezra Miller, and the reboot that's coming, this movie could have not escaped its destiny to fall flat on its face. When I went to see the movie with my children, hoping that we would get a tease or what was going to happen in the new DCU, but the entire time, mainly towards the end, it amounted to nothing. We had a post-credit scene that amounted to nothing. And don't get me started on the CGI. That was atrocious. And the reasoning behind the bad CGI was that, oh, this is from Barry's perspective. What, if he was on fucking LSD, opioids, or crack? I also hate the fact that they got rid of Henry Cavill and wrote him completely out of the story. I don't think in the DVD or Blu-ray that they would have the deleted scene showing Henry Cavill. It was just talked about in detail on TikTok. I have never been ashamed of a DC movie in my entire life. I should have went to Fandango or the front desk of the box office at the movies and asked for my fucking money back. The only thing I liked about this movie was the emotion and sacrifice that Barry Allen had to do in order to save the universe. But if you ask me, the universe wouldn't have to be saved in the first fucking place if Barry didn't go back and save his mom. You had one of the smartest people in the DC universe telling you not to do it because you could destroy everything. But instead of taking account of your friend's words and advice, you go and do it anyway. Now, if I was Bruce, I would have got the damn Martian Manhunter to doggone block that information in Barry's mind that he can damn time travel and fuck with everything. Or maybe Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne wanted Barry to go back so he can be erased from that goddamn timeline so that way George Clooney can fucking come back. But hey, this is just speculation on my part. Now, it's no brainer that this Flash movie is loosely based on the most iconic comic book, one of the most iconic comic book stories of all time, and that is Flashpoint. Now, this is the 3rd time that this story has been adapted. The first time was the DC animated movie, Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. And many people, and I mean many people, go back and watch this movie all the damn time. The second time was on the Flash CW show, and we all know how that went. And now we have this, completely deviated from the actual Flashpoint story. The only thing they kept was Barry going back in time and saving his mom. I completely do not understand. This is a $200 million movie budget, and they only could have spent like a percentage of that budget just to purchase the actual fucking comic. The blueprint is right there. And if you really wanted to have a cheat code, watch the goddamn Flashpoint Paradox movie. I also think fans would have not cared if y'all would have adapted the Flashpoint Paradox movie, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe they did have the actual story of Flashpoint in mind, but Warner Brothers had to step in and say, hey, you can't do this. We need reshoots immediately. But in a way, I'm glad that we're getting a reboot and we're getting rid of Ezra fucking Miller. And I hope that James Gunn's version of the Flash will be better than Ezra Miller. However, I don't care how good the next Flash will be in the DCU, because we can all collectively agree that he will never be Grant Gustin. So there you guys have it. This is the list of my top 10 worst movies of 2023. It could have been more, but like I said, we'll have been here all day. And when I meant in my last video that I didn't watch a lot of 2023 movies, I meant that I didn't watch a lot of good 2023 movies. So I just went back and watched all the good stuff like Wolf of Wall Street and the MCU before it became the MCU. But let me know what you guys think of my list in the comments, or do you have a list of your own that is not listed here? Please let me know. Well, that's all for today. I promise I will watch a bunch of 2024 movies in the future. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And Happy New Year.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?